Hey guys, it's Jaden. Welcome back to Vlogmas, but we're talking about some TV shows. The Expanse. Before I get into The Expanse, I just want it to be known that The Expanse needs more fans. You can find this on Prime Video, all 4 seasons. I got into The Expanse because a friend of mine told me like, oh wow, this is good, and Game of Thrones was ending. So, alright, well, I watched the show. At first I was like, I don't really get what's happening here. But after that first episode, I was kind of hooked, so I just kept it going. And realizing that by the time I finished it, Sci-Fi, where it was originally on, canceled it. Like, why? Shout out to the Save the Expanse campaign that made it to Amazon, Jeff Bezos, and he loves space, so great. Now we have The Expanse. Now, if you don't know what The Expanse is basically Game of Thrones in space. You have 3 different tribes. You have the Inners, that kind of represent, which is basically 2, but there are 3 different tribes. They're the Martians, they're the Earthers, and then there are the Belters. Belters are people who live in the asteroid belts, in the moon, and in space itself. Martians obviously live on Mars, and the Earthers live on Earth. There's a bunch of things about that affects their bodies, but as a whole, I've really been getting into science fiction, and I thought this is pretty much like a more realistic take on space. It's based off of books. I believe it's called The Expanse, the books. I'm not entirely sure. I really want that season 5, so I'm gonna need y'all to go watch The Expanse because The Expanse is completely worth it. Yes, I'm gonna give a little bit of spoiler, but I'm not even gonna go too much into it because there's just so much intricacy into what's happening, and there's so much backstory layered on top of, dating back to the first season that it's just like too much. It's essentially Game of Thrones in space, and more people should be watching it. So many critics have praised this show as being excellent. My only problem is that it's not getting the views it deserves. Now, you can say that about a lot of shows. Like even we could talk about One Day at a Time, how Netflix basically canceled it, but Pop saved it. So if Pop's gonna save One Day at a Time and give it a chance, and we're gonna watch because we gotta support, then we gotta also support The Expanse because Amazon is out here doing it. Everyone has an Amazon account. Just watch it. It's great. It gives you space, it gives you sex, it gives you love, it gives you violence, it gives you science, it gives you all the things that you're looking for in a good sci-fi trope. It's not the Orville, but it's not Star Trek and it's not Star Wars. It's The Expanse. I think of it as like a grown-up Ender's Game to me, but without like weird bugs and all that jazz. Anyway, getting into it. So basically you have Captain Holden, let me make sure I get his name correct. Captain James Holden, played by Steve Strait, who sits there and leads the Rocinante, which is a Martian ship that they end up stealing in the first season. Then you have your pilot, who's a Martian, Alex Kamal, played by Kaz Anvar. I don't want to get these names wrong, because I want you to know these actors deserve to be recognized. Then we have Naomi Nagata, played by Dominique Tipper. Dominique Tipper, she serves a good role. She's a belter. James Holden's an earther. Then you have Amos. He's also an earther. He's played by Wes Chatham. Now, these 4 are the core crew of the Rocinante. So essentially in 4th season, they're going in, they're trying to colonize a new planet. And, obviously the tensions between the earthers and the belters are still high, even though they're under a truce. The belters ram the gate, get to a planet, they find basically gold, they can strike it up rich. But then you have the traditional, we've got a charter from them to sit there and do this, we're gonna do this. And that's what the Earthers did, sit there and study the planet. But then James Holden gets into the thing and basically, he's gonna say mess it all up, but he does. He messes it all up, he causes some things. We're dealing with like this mysterious being called the protomolecule and trying to figure out who the creators of the protomolecule are, who created all this land. As a whole, I think there's excellent character development in this entire season. I think you have the struggle with Naomi figuring out like, hey, she loves Holden. She wants him, they're good together, but like they kind of do live in separate worlds, but they're still together. And they're able to sit there and make that work. It's just that she can't experience life the way he gets to experience life, even though she wants to have the choice to be able to do that. Due to, belters, well, no, you don't know, but belters, or you do, belters and Martians essentially not having the same bone density as living on, like, gravity on Earth, So it just works differently. Essentially, if a belter that does not take the appropriate medication to dense up their bones, they'll flatten. For Martians, it just is hard to move. Living in a zero G environment basically messes up everything that's going on in your body. Going on, you also have Amos. Amos, I feel like we really don't get much character development. We kind of just get a little bit of like, wow, you will die for your team. And you know what? We love a good ride or die. That is Amos. That is his role. He is the badass of the entire season. You have Alex. Alex is a smart Martian, living his best lives, piloting ships. I don't think there's character growth right there, but I just think it just excellent to tell a story. Got to share some things about his family. But James. I think James is probably, our central character here. I think he's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be about 4 people, but it mainly is about James because he kind of holds a lot of the cards in his mind. So James Holden has this thing inside of his head called the protomolecule, and essentially it's a figment of his imagination of his dead friend. His dead friend and the protomolecule are kind of like fighting for dominance on like that ghost inside of his head. And we're just trying to sit there and figure out what's going on. That's kind of like just the gist of the show, like what the hell is going on. But I just want to say this is a good season. I think this is all the Expanse. I think they upped up, the language. They upped up the writing, upped up the special effects. They upped up what we were looking for inside of the Expanse. Hopefully we get that season 5 because there's a lot of unanswered questions still. If not, you can always read the books. But I don't really know what else I can sit there and say about this to show without like really going into it. Christian Avasarala is just, she's elegance. She's everything. Christian Avasarala is like a Lady Sansa with a little bit of Tyrion Lannister. You should watch it. It's a great season. It's great television. It's must see. Would be on my best television I've seen all year list. But we're going to talk about that later. So anyway, I think that's it for today's video. Just go watch it. It's just worth it. I didn't really want to spoil anything. I just don't feel like really not giving somebody that chance. But I do advocate for the show. Season 5, please come on. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, follow, in the description. If you need anything, follow me. Let me know what's going on. And, go watch The Expanse. Really would appreciate it. See y'all later. Bye.